I've got a friend who's one of those January 6th guys, and he's sends me like tweets all the time. Like
you got a friend who was a January 6th guy?
Though.
Yeah.
You got a friend who was a January 6th guy?
Well, he's still there. He's like hundreds of days in jail without any kind of without trial,
without process.
Yeah. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but like that's not how it's supposed to be, is it?
It's not how it's supposed to be.
You're supposed to have a due process of some kind.
Well, especially when you watch the actual footage of how it went down.
Oh, I watched it live, and there was that guy, that Antifa guy, waving people in, like moving them in.
Yeah.
They were moving the blockade things. They were moving them out, and cops were waving people in. They were opening the doors for people.
I want you to think about it this way: in the most heavily armed nation the world has ever known, why would you have an insurrection with no guns?
Yeah, you got to have guns. Machine guns.
Those guys weren't planning on an insurrection.
No.
And then you have the factor that there was agents in the crowd, and we don't know how many. There's government agents in the crowd that were inciting people to go in.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
And I want to know who that cop was who shot that woman.
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, the whole thing's crazy.
Yeah,
the whole thing's crazy. And then there's this thing that cops died. That no cops died that day. That's not true.
No.
The cop who died, he died of a stroke, and I believe it was a stroke or a heart attack. But
well, like everything, there's a lot of misinformation being given to us by the mainstream media.
But it gets attributed to it, sort of like when, anything happens to anyone 4 years after the vaccine, they attribute it to the vaccine. Oh, it was probably the vaccine.
Yeah.
Could have been the guy just had a fucking heart attack. But this guy who was a cop, he did not die there. He was not killed by the protesters. And you watch the video of the shaman dude with the fucking buffalo hat. They're walking him around. The cops are guiding
they're showing him around. No,
they're guiding him. How would you ever think that is going to let you wind up in jail? How would you ever think that if you're an unsophisticated guy who was wearing fucking face paint and you're kind of a kook, and you think you're part of a movement, which is really scary, Yeah. People get a part of a movement and we're all doing it. And then you've got literal government agents encouraging you to do it, moving barriers, letting you in. They were playing chess and these idiots were playing checkers.
Yeah,
and they all got locked up.
Sense. Yeah,
because nobody was doing an insurrection.
It wasn't an insurrection.
It wasn't an insurrection.
Yeah, you don't do an insurrection without weapons. The whole idea is crazy.
So there was no presumption that there was going to be any kind of that you were going to get thrown in jail for 1,000 days. And so my pal Jake Lang is he's been there forever, and every now and then I get a picture of him like he's been in look, I deserve to go to jail. That guy doesn't.
Right.
And most of those guys don't.
Yeah, I think it was a bad decision, certainly, to go into the Capitol. It was a bad decision to smash windows, but I want to know who was doing it.
People had been smashing things for a whole year before that.
Right. That's a very good point.
It's like we were a culture of smashing things at that point.
It's also, as soon as you find out that there were government agents that may or may not have incited people to go in, the whole thing fucking changes. Like, what are you trying to do? Are you there to serve and protect, or is there some other weird shit going on? Because it seems like there is, and no one wants to talk about it because you don't want to be that guy. But at a certain point in time, you should be that guy. You should go, what's going on, man?
There comes a point when men of good conscience must stand up and speak out against things that are obviously wrong.
Yeah.
And that is one of them, I think.
Yeah, that is one of them. It's a big one. It's a weird one. And, there's all this pushback about Trump getting into office because he said one of the first things he said was he was going to release all the January 6th prisoners. Like, how long do you think they should be in there for? Who's opposing this?
They should at least be going to trial.
Yes.
You should at least be going to trial.
Right.
It is unconscionable to hold somebody for over a year, 2 years now, or
Well, the thing, the government has always had a situation where, and we talked about when we did our episode on the Andersonville trial.
Yeah.
Is the one charge that the government can put against you where they don't need direct evidence is conspiracy.
Ooh.
If they arrest you for conspiracy, that means they don't have direct evidence, but they don't need direct evidence for conspiracy.
By the way, when I was
one thing, that's how they got Manson.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right.
All right, because
they knew what Manson had done because they were helping him.
Yeah. Well, I believe that too because
Did you read Chaos?
book's one of the best.
Believe
me, I read every
ever.
Manson book that there possibly could read, and then I read that one. I throw the rest of them away in the fucking trash.
Chaos is insane.
Chaos is just fantastic, and he helped me too because my first AD is a friend of his. Bill Clark.
Oh, wow.
And when I was writing the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood book, I go deeper into the Manson stuff. And so I had a couple of little questions in my head that I always kind of wanted to know the answer to. So I got Tom's number and I called him up and I was able to ask him some really super direct questions that could really help my book.
It's a crazy fucking story, man.
Oh, it's...
When I was in jail, I found out they record everything. They're just constantly recording. And so somebody's in there and they're like, man, I'd like to kill that DA. Well, that's conspiracy. And so they'll wait and oh, you're about to get out. And they'll literally start walking out stop.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Remember that thing you said about conspiracy? Let's play that back for you.
Oh, God.
Or what you said about killing the DA? Well, that's, you're going away again. You're going back to trial. That happened a lot.
But it's also
don't ever talk.
They put guys in your cell to get you talking about shit.
Oh yeah, that happened. That happened right away. That happened right away.
Oh,
they're trying to get you to incriminate yourself deeper. Constantly, it's like a fun game.
What a fun game! What a fun game to serve and protect, incriminate you deeper.